Go ahead, Henock.
Thank you, Sunny. Hi, everyone. Henock ታደሰ እባላለሁ Senior Teaching Fellow ሆኜ ነው የምሰራው Imperial College London እና የሪሰርች ሜቶዶሎጂ ሪሰርች ሞጁል ሊድ ሆኜ እሰራለሁ እዚህ በዛ ካፓሲቲ ነው እንግዲህ ከጤናው ጋር ደግሞ በተለያዩ ነገሮች ክለብሃውስም ላይ ሌሎች ላይ በሚደረጉ ዌቢናሮች ፓርቲሲፔት አደረግ ነበርና በዛ አማካይነት ወደዚህ ስራ መተናል እና ስለ ስራው ደግሞ ስለ ሪሰርች ፌሎሺፕ ስለ QI ፌሎሺፕ ዛሬ መግለጫና የእናንተን ጥያቄዎች ለማስተናገድ ነው እዚህ የተገኘሁት I'm really excited to be here and to be speaking with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Henny. And then Wibet ይሰማል? ኢንተርኔቷ እያስቸገረን ነበረ። ዶክተር ውበት ይሰማል? Okay. If not, Dr. Amal, I know everyone knows you. ግን በተወሰነ ኢንትሮዲውስ አድርጊልንና ራስሽን ፍፄ ወደ አንተ እመጣለሁ።
Can you please invite Dr. Daniel also? He's in the attendees.
I'll try to see it.
Hi everyone, Amal Balalo, Dean for the School of Medicine. I'll be in and out of the meeting, so hopefully you'll bear with me. Internet Welcome everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Amal. Dr. Daniel join እያደረገን ነው።
Yeah. Hi everyone, Daniel Balalo, radiology. No, I just joined the meeting a bit late actually. Again, I'm here and ready to attend. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Daniel. Thank you for joining us. Fizz, do you want to say a few things about yourself? Kazani Katalalo.
Thank you for watching ስለመጣችሁ በጣም እናመሰግናለን። My name is Dr. Fitzum, nephrologist. I'm based in Pennsylvania. I'm a graduate of Addis Ababa University. And I'm also a co-founder of Yetena Weg. I'm interested in research because I believe that when we were in medical school or during residency, I thought we should have more training on research. That's my passion towards this project. I'm happy to take part in this and do my part. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Wibet Yalish, can you hear me? Can you hear us? Can you speak? Awesome.
ይሰማል?
Introduce
ውበት እባላለሁ የጤና ወግ ቮለንተር ነኝ በዚህ ኳሊቲ ኤንድ ሪሰርች ቲም አባል ነኝ የQI ኤንድ ሪሰርች እንትኑን በማስተባበር አግዛለሁ ሐኪም ነኝ ጋንዲ ነው የምሰራው
Thank you Betty. So ሰናይት እባላለሁ እኔ background in nursing and masters in public health አለኝ ሰርቻለሁ የጤና ወግ join ካደረኩና coordinate ማድረግ ከጀመርኩ almost 2 ዓመት አለፈኝ and I am leading working with Lifebox የሚባል organization. I don't know how many of you know it. Surgery and anesthesia ላይ እንሰራለን making it safe ወይንም ከሴፍቲ ጋር በተያያዘ የሚሰሩ ፕሮጀክቶች ላይ ነው more emphasize የምናደርገውና የኢስት ኤንድ ሳውዘርን አፍሪካ ፕሮግራሞችን ሊድ አደርጋለሁ የጤና ወግ ውስጥ ደግሞ ከቮለንቲር ባለፈ I am also the board member. ይሄንን ሪሰርች ፕሮጀክት ስለጀመርን ፓርትነር ስላደረግን በተለይ ከሴንት ፖል እና ብላክ ላይን ጋር I think I'm very much happy. I hope it will be successful as we have planned it እና በደንብ engage አድርገን እየሰራ እንዳለ ነው thank you to Dr. Henock and Dr.Gelila ሊድ ያደረጉ ያሉት ይሄንን ፕሮግራም ከኢትዮጵያ ውጭ ሆነው ዶክተር ውበት ደግሞ ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ሆና ኮኦርዲኔት ታደርግልናለች so thank you everyone for joining wishing us በደንብ successful የሆነ induction program ይኖረናል ብዬ አስባለሁ thank you.
If I can just say one more word, in projects in general, throughout the process, I am very grateful for Dr. Amal, how she made this easy for the project to get started. And now Ahonim, she's joining us while she's traveling. I am very grateful, and this will give importance to how it's perceived in throughout the faculty and also with the residents. Again, I want to appreciate your all the effort that you're putting on this. We really appreciate it. Yeah, I think it's 20 minutes. It's better to get started. The others can, start later or join later.
Yeah, so just slides share አድርጌ ከመጀመሪያም በፊት just to give you a bit more overview of my trajectory in research and why I feel this program would be very, very crucial ለብዙ ሰዎች። So እኔ undergraduate studying ኢትዮጵያ ደቡብ ዩኒቨርሲቲ ዲላ ነው በሄልዝ ኦፊሰር ዲግሪ የጨረስኩት እና ስንጨርስ ዶክተር ይፍሩ ብርሃን was our teacher እና የመጨረሻ እንትን ኮርስ ላይ ሲሰጠን a good paper takes you a long way ይለን ነበረ እና ያኔኛ ፔፐር ምን ማለት እንደሆነ ማናውቅም ነበር right so a competitive የሆነው የሪሰርች ወርልድ ይሄ ክሊኒካል ሪሰርቸሮችንም ክሊኒካል ፕራክቲሽነሮችንም እንዴት ካሪየራቸውን አድቫንስ ሊያደርጉ እንደሚረዳ አንገነዘብም ነበርና አንደኛው የመጀመሪያው እንትን ያን ግንዛቤ ለመፍጠር ነው early on and through my career trajectory I have found that to be the case so ከዛ በኋላ በተለያዩ ኢንተርናሽናል ኦርጋናይዜሽኖች ውስጥ የሄልዝ ፕሮግራም ኮኦርዲኔተር ሆኜ ሰርቼ ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ዩጋንዳ ከዛ በኋላ ማስተርስ ኢን ዩሮፕ መጥቼ ዩኒቨርሲቲ ኦፍ ሼፊልድ እና ዩኒቨርሲቲ ኦፍ ኮፐንሃገን በፐብሊክ ሄልዝ ጨርሻለሁ በኳንቲቴቲቭ ሜተድ ስፔሻላይዝ አድርጌ ከእንደገና ደግሞ ዩኒቨርሲቲ ኦፍ ሼፊልድ ተመልሼ ሄጄ በኳሊቴቲቭ ሜተድ ተጠቅሜ ፒኤችዲን ሰርቻለሁ የኢትዮጵያ ሄልዝ ሲስተም ላይ ነው ጥናቴን ያደረኩት ስፔሲፊክሊ ይሄ ከውጭ የሚመጣው እርዳታ ሲስተም ዋይድ ኢፌክቱ ምንድነው የሚል ኤክስፕሎሬሽን ነበር የሰራሁት so given my training both in quantitative and qualitative research በአሁን ሰዓት ራሴን በሚክስድ ሜተድ ሪሰርቸርነት ዴቨሎፕ ለማድረግ እየሞከርኩ ነው ያለሁት since my completion of my PhD I've joined Imperial College London and I currently work as director of the Master of Public Health course እና ደግሞ የሪሰርች ሜቶዶሎጂ ሜተድስ ሞጁል lead ሆኜ እሰራለሁ ያ ሞጁል it's a core module for epidemiology and public health students at the university ከዛ ባሻገር ሌሎች ሞጁሎችንም ኮኦርዲኔት አደርጋለሁ including commercial determinants of health and health policy የሚል አዲስ ሞጁል ኪክ ስታርት አድርጌያለሁ በእነዚህ ሁሉ ጆርኒዎች ውስጥ research is central whether you're the one undertaking research or you're the one actively consuming and interpreting research እና እዛ ጋር ሲመጣ ደግሞ it's the lines are blurring now የፕራክቲሽነር እና የአካደሚክ ላይ ነው research is ubiquitously በጣም applied እየሆነ ነው translation of research into action or production of research ውስጥ የመሳተፍ ሁሉም ሰው ቻንሱ በጣም ከፍተኛ እየሆነ ነው እና ከዚህ አኳያ ነው early on what are the principles of good research what are the best approaches methodology wise የሚለውን ነገር በተለይ በውጭ ሀገርም ሀገር ውስጥም ያሉትን ሪሶርሶች የምናገናኝበት እስቲ በተወሰነ ሌታ ስታርት ስሞል ብለን ይሄን ነገር የጀመርነው ለማለት ነው እና በዚህ ላይ ተሳታፊ በመሆኔ በጣም ደስተኛ ነኝ now without further ado I can share the slides but just to say so primarily hidden lead እያደረግን ያለነው Dr. Wubat who's part of this call especially a QI quality improvement end of things coordinate Dr. Wubat Nat Dr. Gelila from the US and myself from London demo የሪሰርች ፌሎሺፑን ዲዛይንን በማድረግ እና ዴሊቨሪውን ኮኦርዲኔት በማድረግ እንሰራለን። ከጀርባ ግን ሌሎች ብዙ ባለሙያዎችን ማሳተፍ ነው የምንፈልገው፣ ማሳተፍም ጀምረናል። Research is such a collaborative effort. We've already started including around, we've already recruited around 4, 5, 6 more, I believe, academics to be part of this. እነሱ ደግሞ ምን ላይ እንደሚሳተፉ across the slides share አደርጋችኋለሁ። So who is Yetena Weg? I think a lot of you here know Yetena Weg well. Yetena Weg is a volunteer network of health professionals and other experts dedicated to improving evidence-based health information in Ethiopia. You know Yetena Weg through the health promotion works, health advocacy, continuous medical education sessions, mentorship, and other miscellaneous activities. እና እኔም የዚህ ተጠቃሚ ነበርኩ over the years። አሁን ነው እንግዲህ ደግሞ ቲሙን በዚህ በሪሰርች ፕሮጀክቱ አማካይነት የተቀላቀልኩት። Yetena Weg does so much across the board in regards to all these activities. እና ትልቁ ደግሞ the biggest win from my perspective is getting people together. በጣም ከባድ ነው ኔትወርክ ማድረግ፣ በጣም ከባድ ነው ሜንተርስ ማግኘት፣ በጣም ከባድ ነው ኤክስፒሪየንስ ሼር የሚደረግበትን ፕላትፎርም ፋሲሊቴት ማድረግ። I think Yetena does a stellar job on those accounts. I think on this slide I will invite Dr. Fitsum to say a bit more about who's behind your research fellowship. We have some seed funds which has been secured ከሮሃ ድርጅት ጋር በመተባበር so እሱን ኮላቦሬሽንን በተመለከተ ዶክተር ፍጹም and ሰናይት can say more.
All right, thank you, Sen. Thank you, Henny, for the brief introduction. I won't take too much time, probably 2-3 minutes to say. As you have said, Yetena Weg in the volunteer organization, we focus on improving health information access and also academic activities as well through CME and the research projects that we have engaged now. Health promotion activities, more general public medicine, through, you know, reliable on the social media, reliable on the experts review articles, audio, that is promotion content and share market. No, we've been doing that for 3 years now. As a clinical practitioner or the family and the takami, መረጃ ስትፈልግ የምታገኝበት ቦታ እንዲሆን ነው እና ያ መረጃ ደግሞ ተአማኒ የሆነ ነገር እንዲሆን ነው። ሰው Yetena Weg .com ቼክ ብታደርጉ እነዚህ የምንሰራቸው ነገሮች በደንብ ማየት ትችላላችሁ። ከዛም ባለፈ ኮሚኒቲ ውስጥ ብለድ ዶኔሽን ድራይቭን በተመለከተ አንዳንድ ቻሪቲ አክቲቪቲዎችን እናደርጋለን። Directly coming to the research project. የሪሰርች ፕሮጀክት ስንጀምረው ከነበረን ኤክስፒሪየንስ ነው። ሜዲካል ስኩል ሁላችንም ኢትዮጵያን ይሄድ ነው እና ሪሰርች አክቲቪቲያችን በጣም ነበር አናሳ ነበር እና when we come to roll and see, you know, apply for different things, you see how research is very important. እና ያ ነገር ላይ ያለን ኤክስፒሪየንስ አናሳ መሆኑ ብዙ ፔፐሮች ሪሰርቾች ላይ ያለመሳተፋችን ሲቪያችን ወደ ኋላ ይወጣልና እሱን ደግሞ how we can make it better ብዙ ሌሎች አክቲቪቲዎች አሉ። እኛ እንደ አዲስ እንጀምር ሳይሆን የሚሰሩ ነገሮች ላይ እኛም የበኩላችንን ነገር እናደርግ በሚል ነው እና ይሄንን ሪሰርች ፕሮጀክት ስንጀምር you know, coming like, you know, looking for foreign aid, foreign donation or grants is not what we're looking for. Academic activity and research ነገሮች ኢምፖርታንሳቸውን አንደርስታንድ አድርገን ሎካሊ ፈንድድ መሆን አለባቸው። ፓርት ኦፍ the funding እና annual budget መሆን አለባቸው። So we have started to look for local organizations, but that's just in mission and vision understand that we're joining again is Roha Health Foundation, which is building state-of-the-art hospital in Addis and if they have joined that, they will tell us more later themselves. But I want to check their activities as well. I do appreciate their involvement with us because sharing this vision tells me their values enough. But I do appreciate their engagement in supporting this research project. So they will help us to fund the research activity that you do, resident or medical assistant የሚያደርጉትን ሪሰርች ፈንድ የምናደርገው በእነሱ ድጋፍ ነው። ግን ይሄ በዚህ ዓመት ብቻ የሚቀጥል አይደለም። In the coming years we'll be looking for more support and we want to make it nationwide so that ሌሎችም ዩኒቨርሲቲዎች join እንዲያደርጉ. So take it as more of a pilot project so that if you do it right we can do much better በሚለው ሴንስ ነው። አመሰግናለሁ። I'll leave the floor back to you, Henny.
Thank you for saying. So with that, we go on to saying, sorry, why we've devised this Research and Q.I fellowship. One is around versatility of healthcare professionals in terms of applying for scientific research to help for healthcare practice. So ቀላል ይመስላል ግን በጣም ከባድ ነው የዚህ የሪሰርች ኤንተርፕራይዙን አክሰስ ማድረግ እና how to go about applying for funding, how to go about designing a good research protocol, how to bridge the practice research divide. And now, ለማደፋፈር capacity build ለማድረግ ነው, to create a platform where healthcare professionals can initiate their own pursuit of academic research. And now, routinized ካልተደረገ, if you don't dedicate some hour within your week towards academic pursuit, it's very difficult to pursue academic research. And now, እሱን initiate የምታደርጉበትን መንገድ facilitate ለማድረግ ነው, to establish a network of Ethiopian researchers and create a lasting learning and information exchange platform. Through these activities, በኋላ የምናሳያችሁ ዝም ብሎ ፌሎሺፕ አድርጎ አዋርድ ማድረግ ብቻ ሳይሆን we try to match mentors with mentees እና at different levels ያላችሁ course ላይ ያላችሁ ሰዎች እንደሆናችሁ እናውቃለን. There are things that we want to learn from you, and also if there are things that we can pass on from our own experiences, we'd be very happy to do that. To create a space where healthcare professionals can showcase their research endeavors and get inspired. And that inspiration ቀላል ነገር አይደለም, because it can be quite drab. A research world አብዛኛው ጊዜ ለኤቲክስ አፕላይ በማድረግ ሊጠፋ ይችላል. It's quite you need to be very meticulous. Design ስታደርጉ ኢንስትሩመንታችሁን ዴታ ኮሌክሽኑ ሁሉም ነገር እና through all those stages that you need to see people who have realized ይሄ key finding አግኝቶ መታወቁ ወይ ደግሞ field of researchን influence ማድረጉ ብቻ ሳይሆን እነዛን ሩቲን የሆኑ mundane የሆኑ ነገሮችን መወጣት ይጠይቃል እና through all those stages inspiration እንትኖችን ሼር ለማድረግ ነው. To foster recognition in the commercial and business world and to encourage key stakeholders and business entities to invest in scientific research. So we hope some of you who are going to work with us and the awardees are going to take your work to fruition. እኛም ሰፖርት አድርገናችሁ እኛም ተሳትፈንበት. And if we can showcase the success from this trial, we may say we hope that we can entice locally ያሉ commercial and business entities. ይሄ በተለይ የዶክተር ፍጹም ሆፕ ነውና የሎካሊ ያሉ እንትኖች ብዙን በእንደዚህ አይነት መልኩ አይሳተፉም እና እነሱን ወደዚህ መስመር ለማምጣት የሄልት ኬር ሪሰርችን ሰፖርት የሚያደርጉበትን ስፖንሰር የሚያደርጉበትን ነገር ቪዚብል በማድረግ ከኤፈርቱ ሊወጣ የሚችለውን የዴይ ቱ ዴይ ፕራክቲስን እና ሄልት አውትካምን ኢንፍሉዌንስ የሚያደርጉ ጥሩ ሪሰርቾችን በመስራት ሰዎችን ኤንካሬጅ አድርጎ ወደዚህ መስመር ለማምጣት ነው። So mission statement action. It's to sip in research activities in the day-to-day healthcare space and elevate it to become a routine practice, routinized matter. No, that's the only way. You're not going to have your all very busy clinicians, we know, and the clinical objective is the most important objective for a lot of you now. here your research እንትኑን unless you feel self-efficacy ይባላል in health behavior language, unless you feel you have some self-efficacy, unless you feel that you can incorporate that into your routine practice, there is no way you're going to be publishing papers, you're going to be building a portfolio of your own research. እና ያንን encourage ለማድረግ ነው. Involvement in research projects increases analytical aptitude and allows professionals to be malleable and well-rounded in their fields. ሌላኛው in this regard ምንድን ነው? You know, there needs to be translation of research in day-to-day practice. And now, you know that already, unless you read research outputs and update your thinking, the science is changing on a day-to-day basis. And now, you need to be able to discern what's good research, what's good outcome, what's worth your time and what is not. And then just by reading the abstract, you get the sense of whether you should read further or not. Where should you start? Where should you stop reading? There's one paper by Trisha Greenhalgh, but I'm a renowned researcher here in the UK and practitioner. She has a book, and one of the chapters, and it's also an article, how to read a paper, Yemil. It's one of my favorite publications. And now how to read a paper. Now, you know, if you want to as you skim through, stop reading and throw it in the bin language. And now, through experience, through having the right sets of skills, you know whether you should go further or not. You know how to discern good quality from bad quality research. And now, መስራቱ ብቻ ሳይሆን, to be a good consumer of evidence is also a good thing, and we want to contribute to that. Quality improvement projects are critical to empowering healthcare professionals to be in charge of the environments they choose to operate. I'll call on Dr. Wuba to say a bit more about the quality improvement objectives and what we are looking for from the research fellowship and QI fellowship. But quality improvement is something that should be embedded in healthcare delivery. So they call it the translation of evidence into practice. So it's not like continuously the health system as a system needs to consume new evidence. And now quality improvement ማለት ምን ማለት ነው? Outcome measures በምንድን ነው define የሚደረጉት? What are the key strategies to achieving that? How is that different to a research agenda? የሚሉትን ነገሮች አንዳንድ ሴሚናሮችም ሴት አፕ እያደረግን ነው፣ በእነሱም ከቨር እናደርጋለን። and we want to see some quality improvement projects being submitted for the fellowship competition, for the award competition. To achieve this mission, YetenaWeg will be working with selected academic institutions at Sabah University and St. Paul to engage healthcare professionals from diverse backgrounds. So how do we plan to achieve these objectives? As you know, there is this abstract and health protocol competition. Yeah, St. Paul ተማሪዎች, you know, that medical students, you know that, and now we've updated the St. Paul approach slightly, and what we are considering for St. Paul is actually research articles, completed research articles, because you've already embarked on your projects. Whereas for Addis Ababa University, for the residents, you're just about to submit your protocols at the university as well, so that the timeline works in such a way that we are looking at protocols for Addis Ababa University, meaning proposals which are going to be executed. We'll go through that more. For St. Paul, we're looking at research articles and poster submissions. Hold research courses and training sessions. So we've planned a series of seminars. These are not going to be exhaustive because the things that we've picked up are quite broad, and they could even make a whole course. Again, we want to give you the tips and the key methodological advice around the key themes that we've picked out for our seminars, and we can show you what those are going to be. Research matching by using areas of interest through Ethiopian researchers' profile. So this is something that we have started building up on our website. So we've asked researchers to, there are a few of us whose profiles have been posted there. So by looking at those, you can contact them directly for advice with the project that you're submitting here, or generally in terms of your research interests. Provide mentorship and publication review by a diverse group of research scholars. በተለይ ፋይናሊስት የሚሆኑትን ተማሪዎች we want to match with a group of mentors so that the execution of your research is quite fruitful and gets advice from a disciplinary diverse group of individuals and academics. Hold poster presentation sessions, and we want to facilitate you being published out of this exercise. If you look back at the last cohort, for instance, in Addis Ababa University or St. Paul, how many of them have proceeded to publish their work in internationally recognized journals? The proportion is quite low, not just in those institutions, but where I work as well, unless students get the guidance and support and the backstopping in terms of technical and moral support, it's very difficult to achieve those objectives. So we want to be of use in that regard as well. Advocacy for locally funded academic research fellowship. So we hope at the end of successful completion of this cycle, we encourage others to do the same and support local academic institutions to produce research competent medical students, medical practitioners at the end. So our researcher's profile has all this information, all this information, a brief bio, educational background, research area of interest, and some publications from the people we have posted there. The academics are going to be involved in this endeavor is not just those who have been posted in this academic profile page, but we've enlisted some 6 more academics, if I'm correct, who are going to serve as panelists. We anticipate quite a number of protocol submissions and also research articles from St. Paul. So it's not just one person doing the review and deciding the fate of each submission, but it's going to be looked at by a panel. And there's going to be a scoring process. We have a detailed rubric for evaluating this. I don't know if you've seen the rubric. We've already produced one for Addis Ababa University. You might have seen that. We are producing one for St. Paul, and we'll be sharing that. So it's always good to look at the rubric before you make your final submission, because that's what you're going to be evaluated on. You're going to be evaluated in an anonymous evaluation process where no one knows who is being evaluated during the process. Your names are not going to be there. You're just going to be evaluated on the merit of the idea and the execution of your research. Okay, so Yetena Weg and Roha Research and Q.I fellowship is quite novel in its conception, as far as I know, because usually in ሀገር እንደምታውቁት የውጭ funding institutions ናቸው research fund የሚያደርጉት, but this is a collaboration that also it is quite novel in terms of targeting clinical students at different levels, the residents, the medical students, and different departments. So it's born out of a partnership as well between Roha Medical Campus and Yetena Weg and the medical schools in Addis Ababa. So the fellowship is going to provide not just award in terms of financial backing for the project ideas, but also mentorship and guidance, hopefully to push our applicants towards publication of your works. Publishing your work means a lot, especially at this stage. I can't emphasize that enough. So if you go for a research fellowship later on, further educational opportunities in terms of postgraduate studies, your PhDs, or other things internationally, publication is going to count a lot. It's going to count a lot. As someone who's part of the review panel for our Master of Public Health course here at Imperial College, it is one thing that we look for. We call it the research drive, right? And have our applicants been productive? So a lot of applicants say what they've done in their in this regard. But if you've got a publication, it consolidates all you might claim in your statement of purpose to say, oh, I am interested. You could say, I am interested in research, but people are going to say, okay, so if you've been interested in research, fine, but what have you done so far? And publications can be very powerful in that regard to sway the decisions in your favor. Okay, so in terms of submission, we've got our website, as you know, and there's going to be a tab that's being constructed. I don't know if it's already done, but there will be a tab for submission of the protocols and the research articles. And we are going to enforce the different requirements through the submission portal, including the word count. So that's going to be very, very strict. So you need to be concise in terms of the word count that's been specified for the different aspects of your protocols. Okay, so I want us to get to I want us to get to the Q&A session as soon as possible, and entertain the questions that you have and have more of an informal discussion today rather than me talking at you the whole session. But just to give you some crucial overview. So in terms of research protocols and research articles, so it's research protocols or proposals from Addis Ababa University, and research articles and posters from St. Paul's. We are quite open-minded about the type of protocols and articles you'd be submitting. So this could be epidemiological studies, right? So they could be observational studies. You know, if you if you've done your project as part of a cohort study, a case control study, a cross-sectional study, all those are very interesting to us, including systematic reviews. If you're planning to undertake a systematic review and potentially meta-analysis in a specific area of work, we are very open-minded on all those. Or if you're just you know, synthesizing and analyzing secondary data, that's also very interesting for us. But also it could be on different topics. I'll say what key criteria, quality criteria we're looking for, but in principle we are interested on a myriad of topics as long as they are topical and critical for practice or health outcomes. They could be experimental study designs. You might have had the opportunity to work as part of an RCT, randomized controlled trial, and you might be synthesizing part of the outcome of that RCT, and then we are happy to entertain that as well. You might be part of an implementation research, that's also fine with that, as well as quality improvement related investigations, right? So it's quite open. As Dr. Fitsum said earlier, we've identified different departments who are eligible to participate in this round. That's what we're going to enforce, just so that it's all manageable for this first round. Otherwise, we're happy to entertain any ideas as long as they are rigorous, valid, and interesting. So in terms of the protocol, you can go onto websites and look at the formats for protocols. This is fairly standard. One would expect an abstract. We've put the abstract at 500 words, which is quite generous. So this is giving an overview of what the whole protocol is about. You need to have a clearly defined research question. You need to have done a good literature review to provide a background. The background basically argues why the research question is important and what the implication of undertaking the research is going to be. You should have a well-specified aims and objectives. You should describe your methods and plan of investigation well. The data analysis plan. Okay, so once you've collected your plans, how are you going to go about analyzing it, your data collection, access to data, and ethics plan. How are you going to conduct an ethically sound research? That's also very important to us. And finally, what are the anticipated outcomes and implications of the study? So it's going to cover all these parameters. And if you look at, this is fairly standard. There might be slight variations, but the major funding institutions would be looking at this aspect for entertaining research proposals for funding. So just to say, this is in regards to Addis Ababa University, who are expected to submit protocols. In terms of St. Paul medical students, as I said, we're looking at completed research articles, which we expect to be around 3,500 words in length. This is fairly standard again in terms of, the journal article expectation. If you want us to submit anywhere, I appreciate that your I don't know, but I would suspect your the word count for submission of your dissertations at the institution would be longer. So you would need to, once you've submitted that, you would need to tailor to our needs to make it journal submission ready. So the challenge is to make it concise, but also to refine and improve upon it as you would when you go for submitting to academic journals. So again, this would include the introduction, effective introduction and background, which includes a literature review and project rationale, right? So the literature review would summarize what others have done, but not just summarizing, but also arguing for or justifying what your research would add to the body of existing knowledge. Aim and objectives, so which are concise and effective, providing a summary of the outputs expected from your research. Methodology and methods, which show your clear understanding of the methodology that you're working with, be it quantitative, qualitative, or mixed methods, broadly speaking. There are different study designs within those. Results, right? What are the key results that you've produced from your study? And the discussion, which essentially includes the interpretation of your results in view of what others have found. And finally, the conclusion. So this is fairly standard, and I would advise you to look at similar publications to be able to fashion your submission in terms of what's expected from a journal article. So the abstract in this case is 350 words in length, and this is again fairly standard for journal articles. And we've added the e-poster because we want to also encourage you to have something ready to be able to present in conferences and other venues, and also to be able to disseminate to practitioners and other stakeholders where you work. So these are the things that we expect you to submit, and these are going to be evaluators to decide on the winners of the award. But we hope to be working with as many of you as possible to help you and mentor you and learn from you and collaborate to taking this to fruitful work outputs. Okay. What are the key criteria? As I said, we've developed a detailed, elaborate, clear rubric for evaluating your works, but some of the key criteria I can share here are: one, we want to look at whether you are working on topical issues that are clearly needed within the field of practice, whether you're applying and describing scientifically sound and rigorous methods. And also, methodologies and methods are described in textbooks, but you could adapt them in different ways, right? So if you've been innovative in adoption and adaptation of your methods, and whether your protocol and research articles are well written and clearly communicated. We're not looking for so many jargons and big words and everything else, but what we need is crisp, clearly communicated language, right? So in terms of academic writing and language, less is more, right? Rather than using flowery language and non-specific language, being specific, being clear about what you've done, and also being reflective about the limitations of your work. Every work has limitations, but it's about being cognizant about those limitations and arguing for why the research is still useful despite those limitations, and also highlighting the strengths of your work. Finally, originality in content and presentation. And especially what I want to say today is beware of academic misconduct and plagiarism. We're going to check your works for plagiarism. If if anyone submits something that's copied from other works or uses some of these new AI technologies, ChatGPT or whatever, to produce the text for your work, it's going to be a major offense and you would be disqualified automatically. So I just want to say that outright, it needs to be original in terms of your own work, in terms of your own writing, and you need to give attribute to other people's work. This is the modus operandi of academic practice, and we want to enforce that at this level as well. So I think with that, we can go to the Q&A section of this discussion. But before we do that, I want to invite Dr. Wubat, if you wanted to say a bit more about the QI aspect of this fellowship.
Okay, አመሰግናለሁ. Regarding QI related researchers, yeah, what we want is residents, interns ከሚሰሩበት environment evidence based የሆነ ነገር generate እንዲያደርጉ በማሰብ ነው። Currently QI based researches are more introduced እየሆኑ ነው። እኛ ሀገር ብዙም እየተጠቀምን አይደለም። አንዳንድ በፋሲሊቲ ከምንሰራቸው QIዎች በተጨማሪ ውጪ ማለት ነው። ሶ እነዚህ QI based researchoች የኳሊቲ ኢምፕሩቭመንት ዶሜኖችን ያዙ፣ እዛ ላይ ፎከስ ያደረጉ ሴፍቲ ላይ ሊሆን ይችላል፣ ኢኩዊቲ ላይ ሊሆን ይችላል፣ ፔሸንት ሴንተርድነስ ላይ እነዚህ ዶሜኖች አሉ። እነዛን ዶሜኖች በመጠቀም እንደገናም ደግሞ ከምናየው ዴይ ቱ ዴይ ከምናየው ከስራችን ተነስተን የፔሸንቱ ሄልዝ ኬር ዴሊቨሪው ላይ ያለው ፕሮብለም የሚያይና ያንን ኢንተርቪን የሚያደርግ ነገር በሪሰርች የታገዘ ፕሪ-አናሊሲስ ሰርተን ከዛም በኋላ ኢንተርቬንሽን ቼንጅ አይዲያዎችን ተጨምረን ኢንተርቬንሽን ያመጣ ነገር ለማሳየት የሚረዳ ፕሮፖዛልስ ከኤዩ ከሆነ ፕሮፖዛልስ እንደዚህ አይነት ነገሮች ቢቀረጹ ሞር ኦፍ ምን ይሆናል ከረንት ያለውን የኛን ሰርከምስታንስ የሚያሳዩና ከራሳችን ተነስተን ደግሞ ምናመጣቸው ነገሮች ስለሚሆኑ ሞሮፍ ውጤታቸውን እዛው ላይ የምናየው ነገር ይሆናል ከዛም ተነስተን ደግሞ ሌሎች ኢንስቲትዩሽኖች እነዛን ቼንጅ አይዲያዎች አዶፕት እያደረጉ እንዲጠቀሙ ኤቪደንስ ጀነሬት የሆነ ለውጦች እንድናይ ያደርገናል ማለት ነው ሶ as a QI person I highly appreciate that ማለት እንደዚህ አይነት ነገሮች ቢሆኑ really ደግሞ day to day ፔሸንቶቻችን የሚቸገሩባቸው ብዙ ምናያቸው ነገሮች አሉ with a simple intervention ግን ሳይንቲፊክ ሜቶዶችን ተጠቅመን ለውጥ ልናመጣባቸው የምንችል ነገሮች ማለት ነው ስለዚህ እነዛን ነገሮች እናበረታታለን ብናገኝም በጣም ደስ ይለናል ይሄ an ice breaking ነው የሚሆነው በእኛም በኩል የኪዋይ ነገር አሰ ሪሰርች ቢወጣ ማለት ነው ሶ ኪዋይ ኢንተርቬንሽኖችም ቢጨመሩ ጥሩ ነው ብለን እናስባለን እናበረታታለን thank you
Great, thank you Dr. Ubat and if we have more questions in the Q&A we'll get back to you
አንዴ ፔጁን ላሳያቸው ሪሰርች ፔጁን
please
let me share the screen so research and submit ማድረግ ስትፈልጉ ያሉን ፕሮቶኮሎችን ማየት ስትፈልጉ this is YetenaWeg research page ሊንኩን ሼር አድርገናል ቻት ላይ YFP stands for YetenaWeg for professionals ነው yfp.yetenaweg.com ነው so ሌሎችም ለፕሮፌሽናልስ የሚሆኑ አሉ ሜንተርሺፕ እና ሲኤም የተመለከተ particularly ለዚህ ፕሮጀክት ለዚህ ሪሰርች የምንሄደው research and Q.I በተመለከተ ነው እና እዚህ ጋር ኦብጀክቲቮቹን በደንብ ስላነሳቸው ስለያንመለስም ፔፐሩን ሰብሚት ማድረግ ከፈለጋችሁ አብስትራክቱን just click this it will take you to the page you know ማድረግ ትችላላችሁ በእንደሞ መሰረት እንደም በተቀመጠው ፕሮቶኮል መሰረት ክራይቴሪያ ናቸው grading rubric አለ እዚህ ጋር this is for black line የሴንት ፖልን እንጨምራለን ብለናል ቅድም ዲስከስ ያደረግነው ፕሮቶኮል እዚህ ጋር አለ ዳውንሎድ ፕሮቶኮል እና ያሏችሁን ጥያቄዎች በተመለከተ ከዚህ kind of frequently asked questions ለማስቀመጥ ሞክረናል ቅድም ሄኖክ ሜንሽን ሲያደርግ የነበረው ሪሰርቸርስ ፕሮፋይል ዴቨሎፕ እያደረግን ያለ ነው አንደኛ ሪቪውወርስ የሚሆኑ ናቸው ሁለት ሜንተር የሚሆኑ ናቸውና we trying to develop Ethiopian researchers profile at home and abroad so that we know what they're doing interestaቸው ማወቅ ከዛ ደግሞ ኔትወርክም ለማድረግ ስለሚረዳን Ethiopian researchers profile develop እያደረግን we've added like 6-7 people so far ideal ምንድነው ለምሳሌ I'm just giving an example Dr. Samrat Fikru is a researcher works in the US and her publications are here እስካሁን ፐብሊሽ ያደረገቻቸው ነገሮች እንደዚህ ያሉ then contact ማድረግ ብትፈልጉ there's a way to communicate so ideal ምንድነው we're trying to bring together Ethiopian researchers here and then there's some about our funders sorry go back from there and then submit your paper እንደዚህ ማድረግ ትችላላችሁ so this is the link for our website develop ያደረገ ዌብሳይት እየተደረገ ያለ ዌብሳይት ስለሆነ አንዳንድ ለውጦች ልታዩ ትችላላችሁ ግን ቤዚክ ፍሬምወርኩ ይሄ ነው ፔፐራችሁ ሰብሚት ለማድረግ the easy way is through this እዚህ ጋር ጨርሳለሁ thank you
Great, thank you Fitze and so this is the questions and answers section so I don't see any questions that have come through.
Can I throw in one? This is Daniel.
Yes, please, Daniel.
Thank you very much for presenting this, what you plan to do and how you go about doing it. It was an eye-opener for those of us who started to hear about this for the first time. My question is, የናንተን ስራ በተመለከተ ኢንትሮዲዩስ ተደርጎ በየዲፓርትመንቱ ሲመጣልን what we did in black line ማለት ነው was the selected departments had their own research and publication committees, respective committees, who had to, kind of select those papers that are eligible for, the competition that you've designed. We also looked into the rubrics that you've produced, and we kind of used both ours and yours in terms of selecting the best 3, 4, 5, 6, I think 6. I'm talking about radiology this time. And now we're planning to send the whole thing to the office of the dean, through which you'd be able to receive all those selected proposals for your appraisal. And from my understanding after your presentation, are those individual competitors going to submit them individually, or is it through institutional link? And the idea is, I think, as far as radiology is concerned, regarding the key deliverables that you presented earlier, I can see that word count is of a significant value. So we may have to go back and kind of really go through them with our residents and tell them to kind of be a bit more careful about the word count limits, which I'm not sure is ready at this moment because I haven't been able to see the proposals in detail. Anyhow, like look at the publication ready on a paper, but made a journal requirement, that kind of the way you produced it. So if that's the case, I'm sure that we in radiology have to go back to our residents and probably, let them go through the proposals once more and correct word counts, which I'm sure will not be up to your requirements at this stage of. Again, otherwise, the department አልቀው ተመርጠው ወደ ዲን ኦፍ ሜዲካል ስኩል ይሄዳሉ ብለን ነበር ያሰብነው እና ይሄንንም በዛው ኤላቦሬት እንድታደርጉልኝ። Thanks for everything. Okay.
Great, thank you so much, Daniel. Really, really good questions. So, my view is that they should all be submitted individually. That's my view, and I'm really happy that you've got your local mechanism for reviewing this and giving feedback, refining them. That's all really amazing, really good, and also sifting through and submitting the best proposals of them all. So local ownership, but so that's really good news. Again, I think the agency should be with the students at the end of the day, with the residents. And now they should all take responsibility for cutting down the word count, tailoring it, and finally submitting, because we want this to be individual competition at the end of the day. And as you know, we want this to be as authentic as possible to what they would undertake in the real world out there. So institutional mechanism, but this shows the remarkable emphasis that you have placed on this, and so thank you. Then at the end of the day, I think it should be the individuals who should submit. So if, as Dr. Futsum has shown, submission portalu yandandu word countun rasu ayasalfum. So that's what we're hoping for. If that's not done already, we're going to make sure that that's done. And as you know, yourself, the journals won't allow you to surpass the word count when you undertake a journal submission. They will just pull, either reject it there, the system, the page won't move on if you don't and the portalu or if you submit excess of the word count, they will just throw it back to you. So we're going to enforce that strictly. Again, at the end of the day, you know, we don't want this to be intimidating to students. In terms of not the word count is non-negotiable. Again, in terms of how refined the work is, this is going to be about mentorship at the end of the day. እያንዳንዱ የሚገባው ፕሮፖዛል የራሱ የሆነ ድክመት እና ስትሬንግዝ እንደሚኖረው we're well cognizant እንኳን እንደዚህ አይነት you know, from early career, from student researchers የሚገባ ቆርሶ seasoned ከሆኑ ሪሰርቸሮች የሚገባ proposal እና research, as you know, has all those issues. So ግን ማየት የምንፈልጋቸው, so this is going to be trying to look at within that framework things that we are looking for in terms of, you know, authenticity of effort, in terms of, you know, good ideas, in terms of rigor, with all, you know, attendant limitations, because it's limited in terms of resources. It's just one individual who's thrown this out, whereas a lot of research is done in a collaborative effort and so forth. So we want to encourage people to submit, you know, their ideas and their works, and they would be surprised, especially if the core idea and the research is really promising. You know, if you look at our rubric, I think the emphasis is more on the substantive, research-oriented, technical rigor, የተመለከቱ validity, reliability, generalizability, የሪሰርች እንትኑን የተመለከተ ሜቶዶሎጂውን የተመለከቱ ነገሮች ናቸው more weight ያላቸው. So you know, even if there are seminars የሚያዘጋጀ ነው, so that we can work together to refine the work and take it to the next level. Just to add those things on top of your questions, and thank you for those questions.
Thank you for the answers. And just one more question that was raised during a department meeting. It might be of importance. You know, each and every resident doing their thesis proposal and eventual study research work have their own advisors and mentors within the departments, their respective departments. And I know that the residents themselves would be submitting it individually, which is fine by me. But with regards to, you know, the role of the mentors or the local mentors, I would call them, or advisors, you know, the usual trend and institutionally is that when a paper is, when a test is done and defended and, you know, and gets a pass mark, then eventually both the advisors and the individual researcher, the resident, would go ahead and, you know, try to publish it either locally or internationally. So that role is embedded within each and every thesis work in postgraduate medicine here. So what would be the actual role that the local advisors would play? And this is a question raised by senior advisors from my department. So what would that be, you know, vis-a-vis your role in terms of, you know, advising, selecting and mentoring, you know, these papers? I don't know whether my question is clear. Is it?
Very clear, Dr. Daniel. And also really, thank you for highlighting those. I think that's fairly standard as in Bihon. So we work with our students to publish, and you know, and we want to maintain that even from inception in project discuss another. That's what we wanted. Zimbabwean, you know, there was the option to announce to all medical students or residents, but we wanted it to be embedded within the institutional structure, within the support structure. That's why we came to Addis Ababa University. That's why we came to St. Paul's. And now we want to honor the role of the supervisors involved in the advisors. So the submission should be, and maybe this is something for Fase and Sunny and myself and then Gelila when she's and when we meet to discuss for more July, your local advisor capture ለማድረግ እንሞክራለን. And especially once we've made the decision on the proposals, we will work together to create a supportive mentorship team, including the local advisors. So ከኛ ካሰባሰብነው expertise ከሎካል አድቫይዘሮቹ የተወጣጣ depending on the area of research team ነው አብሮ እንዲሰራ የምንፈልገው. So when it goes to publication, and then that team depending on the respective contribution, አሁን እኛ ጋዚን የምንሰራበት ዩኒቨርሲቲ ኢምፔሪያል ኮሌጅ ስንሰራ, so usually the student becomes the first author. The main supervisor becomes the last author. You know the importance of the last authorship as someone who checks the technical consistency and quality of the work. እንደዛ እናደርጋለን. ከዛ other supervisors and other collaborators. And as you know, the journals also ask you to specify the respective role of each individual. So ያንንም ስለምናደርግ ያን አካውንት እያደረግን ግን we want to create an ecosystem that supports the student and is also part of the learning and the research process. So yeah, we're very, very open to that, and we encourage that. But originally, when it's submitted for competition, we want it to be the work of the student. That is so the usually አሁን እኛ ጋር እዚህ ምንድነው የምናደርገው? ወደ ዲዘርቴሽን ሰብሚት ሲያደርጉ ተማሪዎቹ ሱፐርቫይዘሩ gives feedback, nothing more. ኤዲት አያደርጉም, additional input አያደርጉም, but monthly supervision meeting አለ. በዛ ሚቲንግ ላይ ፊድባክ ጥቆማ ነው የሚሰጡት, ሪሶርስ ነው የሚጠቁሙት, አንድ ድራፍት ሪቪው ያደርጋሉ, and that's it. Everything has to be the student's work. ልክ ያችን ፓስ እንዳደረጉ ሪግሩፕ ያደርጋሉ ለፐብሊኬሽን. ያኔ ዲሳይድ ካደረጉ በኋላ የፐብሊኬሽን ሮል, the supervisor themselves can go in and actually write and actually edit and everything else. So ያንን ዲስቲንክሽን ግን ማድረግ እፈልጋለሁ ዳንኤል, as you can understand, so that ሲገባ ለኮምፒቲሽን, so that it's fair to all the residents, so that there is no inconsistency in terms of the level of support that's received by one student compared to another. What we want to ensure is everyone is on the same competition level. Because your students' work is submitted, and solely the students' work, of course, with feedback from the supervisors and the mentors and everything else. We have no problem with that. Again, it has to be the student's voice, the student's writing, the student's work. ከዛ በኋላ ወደ publication ሲኬድ, we can all participate and we can all support the students. የሚለውን ዲስቲንክሽን ያንን መልእክት ብታስተላልፉልን to all the advisors and supervisors, it would be fair. And it would be fair across the board. I hope that's clear.
Yeah, very clear. Thank you.
Great, thanks so much.
Any questions from residents and medical students from other institutions?
And Q&A ላይ አንድ ጥያቄ አለ. Did you check it? Perfect.
Yes, I have seen that. Sunny, thank you. So it says, could it be conducted in a group? We hadn't anticipated that it might be conducted as a group, because the information we had from Dr. Amal and her team was that these were individual projects, if I'm correct. So we were anticipating individual projects, so we would like to keep it that way. If that's the case on the ground, can an individual submit more than one paper? Even submission is a lot of work. It's going to be taxing. So I don't know, say Sunny, Wubert and then Gelila might have different opinions, but I'd be inclined to limit to one project per person. Because that would come at the cost of quality massive. Already we are asking you to submit 1,750 words for a protocol. 3,500 words, and there's a lot of tailoring involved to fit our format. So I wouldn't encourage more than one project per person.
And again, I think the point would be if an individual submits 2 projects, are those 2 projects going to be reviewed by the department? So they're going to submit 1 per department. So we're going to work with the department, so it's going to be only 1. I don't think they can submit 2 or more to their department, right?
Just to add before, I don't know, Dr. Daniel or Dr. Amal Kalwalogum, again, on the group question, ምናልባት ለሴንት ፖል የተወሰነ ዲስከሽናችን ላይ የነበረው ኳሊቲ ኢምፕሩቭመንት ላይ ፎከስ ያደረገ ከሆነ maybe there is a way they can work in a group. St. Paul and Black Lion, clearly it is going to be individual.
Yeah, the only thing.
Okay.
Sorry, Dr. Daniel, just to highlight this, the only thing we want to make sure is that it's fair across the board, right? So essentially, your local institutional structure ተጠቅመን ነው opportunity open up ማድረግ የፈለግነው. So if it's submitted as an individual project, we don't want a case where some students are submitting individual and others are getting support through a group mechanism. That wouldn't be fair, right? So again, of course, speaking with the local institution, if it's part of the criteria locally, we can amend things, but we want people to feel that there is a fair ground rules involved for everyone, and it's all open, it's all transparent, it's all anonymous. We will ensure that it's all anonymous. You're going to be evaluated on the basis of your when I did my master's here, the fact that it was anonymous gave me some reassurance that someone is not going to look at, maybe I've asked a funny question in class and someone doesn't like me and they don't grade my work properly in Milonagar. So we will ensure that it's all anonymous. It's on the merit of your work that you're going to be evaluated. Dr. Daniel, please go on. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I think as far as the Kurambasa is concerned, it's individual because it's a thesis based. That was what we were told, and that's what we've been doing. So it's individual. But I would be happy to hear if Dr. Amal is still with us from her side on where things are and how we've been doing it. Yeah, thank you. She's just arrived this morning, so maybe she's not up to it. I don't know. She was with us for a while at the start, but she might be on and off because she had a very long flight yesterday.
Good day, everyone. This is Adom. I'm from the Department of Oncology. I'm the department head. I think the same goes for us. It's going to be, if the resident managed to do another paper in the next 1 year, then it could be an additional paper, but we expect that this is going to be a thesis for them as well, because we nominated 3rd-year residents for this opportunity, and we have a 4-year program. So from previous experiences, we wanted to include 3rd-year residents because we wanted them to complete their project before they leave our institution, so that we'll have ample time for conduct of the project as well as possible publication. So it's going to be an individual submission, and I just wanted to make sure that I understood the response for the previous question, that although we support them with evaluating the paper they wrote according to the rubrics and the criteria set by your organization, first submission is going to be students only, and after that, when they start to conduct their projects, mentors, local mentors, as well as mentors from outside our institution are going to involve. I just wanted to make sure that I I got the point clearly. But regarding the submission or the working on in the projects is going to be individual projects. Thank you.
Yes, that's very accurate, Dr. Edom. So essentially, we want the students to submit. So this is at Sabah University again, if I'm correct. So we're talking about protocols, essentially the proposals being submitted by the students. Then once that's been reviewed and the students have gone to the next stage, which I expect the next stage, which is the execution of the project, is also being evaluated by the school as part of their thesis, so that the involvement of the advisors is limited to providing advice at that stage. Right, but they will be given ample advice, but also they'll be making use of the series of seminars that we organize. Then when we talk about advice as well, at this level, it's not about fixing individual analysis within their work, fixing, troubleshooting their work phenomena in a detailed side-on. It's more about, as you know, in a supervision advisory role, it's about providing them with links to resources, giving, soundboarding any difficulties that they might be having, reassuring them on what they are doing, looking at preliminary drafts and providing feedback and so forth. So ቅድም ሼር ያደረገው የሪሰርቸርስ ፕሮፋይል ላይ ያሉ ሰዎች, in addition, we've recruited about, I think, 4 or 5 people who are happy to come on board as panelists. And these are researchers within the UK which I've contacted, and we are also contacting others in the US and elsewhere. We're also interested in getting on board local researchers, local advisors within that team as well. So each individual might be, say, for instance, if we have 10 finalists, we want to allocate these 10 finalists with local as well as external mentors who are going to support the execution of the project. And if you ask me, it's to my benefit as well that I am working in collaboration with a local person, with a local resident or medical student who is exploring data that's not available to me right now, but they have got access to the data and they are going about doing the research. And that gives me an opportunity to work in a locally important thing that in Ethiopia, which is very important to me. So we hope this is going to add value to the mentors who are going to come from outside as well. So hopefully it's going to be mutually beneficial for all involved. There's a question from Antana in the Q&A chat asking, can we make the study area of our research other than Blackline or St. Paul? So Sanin they could say more on this. As I understand, our current memorandum of understanding is with the two institutions for this round. And hopefully for the next round, we can involve other institutions, right?
Exactly. This year, this year is a kind of a pilot project. So we'll see with these institutions, Yalan partnership, Yalutan already created a platform and structure. This year, it is Blackline and St. Paul. Again, down the line, again, የመጀመሪያው ዓመት ስለሆነ definitely ሌላ እንቀጥላለን ብለን እናስባለን. Fazay, do you want to add?
No, not the same thing. So deadline በተመለከተ I think it's May 14th ነው አይደል? ሴት ያደረግነው?
So that would be for the protocol, አይደል?
Yes, for the protocol.
For the protocol. Again, we are devising new deadlines for the research article, as I understand, for St. Paul. So we will communicate that. I don't know if you've resolved that already. Again, my understanding was that we were going to decide on a date for that. Mid-May እንደነበረ ግን አስታውሳለሁ።
Yeah, those changes, if I don't know how the Dr. Amali, the department heads, including Dr. Daniel and Dr. Edom feel, we have 2 weeks left for submitting the protocol. Since our start date with St. Paul has been kind of delayed, we're trying to extend it to the end of May for St. Paul. If there is a delay for, now that I hear they didn't know about the word limit and everything, if that's going to create like a delay, maybe we can discuss among ourselves and then maybe able to give the same grace period for Black Line as well.
If I may jump in, Azira.
Yes, Dr. Amma.
I think we should stick with the deadline we set for Black Line because the residents should finalize as soon as possible, do the research and submit on a timely manner. It also affects their ability to sit for their exam as well as to qualify and finish. So already made finish. I prefer we stick with the May 14. That's my recommendation. Then department chairoch lela hasab karlacho, they may jump in. Then things take time. I think word limit የተወሰነ ነገሩን ማስተካከል ከሆነ today is end of April, so they still have 2 weeks. ሁለት የበዓል ቀኖች አሉ this week, so I think we should stick to the deadline so that we can ገና selection process አለው. እሱ ራሱ time ይፈልጋል እና እሱም ትንሽ worry ስላደረገኝ I suggest we stick to the deadline. I don't know if anybody else can jump in.
Yeah, Dr. Ahmed, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I know radiology and probably the other departments have gone through, their own selections of, good proposals. As far as I'm concerned, that's where we are now. But the problem now is, I don't know whether they have already submitted it to your department or is still with the department head, respective department of each department, head of each department. That's one. The other, from what has transpired so far, from Dr. Henock's lecture, I picked up that there are certain key, what he called them, key deliverables or certain things regarding word count, which is a very strict requirement according to his presentation, which we need to go back and tell our residents to go through, I'm sure, I can tell you, I'm sure that the word counts of each and every proposal that was presented was not up to standard requirements regarding this particular issue. So that would take quite a while as far as I'm concerned, because I don't know, the residents would have to go back and work hard on them and kind of come back with the requirements, strictly. So would that be deliverable in a fortnight, do you think?
For the first question, እኔ ጋር submit የሚደረግ ነገር አይኖርም. Basically, it's going to go through YetenaWeg platform for them to be selected, submission and all that. I'm just in the loop to facilitate. The second one, I think it depends. ለምሳሌ oncology, they're not final year residents, so they still have enough time, even if it's delayed. ምንም ብዙም affect ያደርጋቸዋል ብዬ አልገምትም። ምናልባት ዶክተር ኤዶም ጋር on the side መነጋገር Dr. Abdulrazakም ጋር መነጋገር ሊያስፈልግ ይችላል. Internal medicine. I'm just worried about radiology because it's already May and they're the final year residents, so they do not have a lot of time ብዬ ነው. But I think it can be discussed at the department level and with the residents and see the feasibility and let YetenaWeg know by working day Tuesday, because Monday is a holiday here. If we can inform them, if everybody's comfortable with whatever deadline is set, that's fine with me. just out of worry for some departments. What do you think, ፍጹም and Dr. Henock? ምን ታስባላችሁ?
Yeah, I am all for the pressure cooker. I think we should stick to the deadline, because this is again simulating real life. You know, ብዙ ጊዜ research grants have, you know, stiff deadlines. You still have to tailor things, and working around those is important. And the thing I fear, as you've said, Dr. Amal, it's how it affects the rest of their calendar. So there's two things. If you all agree on a change date, we're more than happy to adjust that. Again, it has to be the same for all departments to begin with. Dr. Daniel, regarding our word count, I think if they've already drafted something, you know, these are things that I would expect to be there in their protocols anyway. So I expect their protocols might be longer than that, making it concise. You know, if they have 1 or 2 days to dedicate, it shouldn't take too long, you know, massive. And now, and we're not going to be nitpicking on in terms of our criteria of the rubric and everything. We're going to look for the substantive things. So hopefully it should be doable. Anyway.
I don't know, Dr. Henock, Dr. Amal, from my experience, you know, we know some of our residents have, you know, problems in, you know, language-wise. I don't know, you guys have been away and living in abroad for a long time. As an advisor over the years, except a few of my students, most of them had problems. And now yaንን አስቤ ነው ይሄን ያልኩት ከፕራክቲካል point of view from local experience ነው እንግዲህ ዶክተር አማል እና ዶክተር ሄኖክ ይሄን እንጂ እኔ ደስ ይለኛል እንትኑ ቢጠበቅ ግን in 2 weeks time ይሄን ጨርሳሉ ከተባለ I have no problems እኔ ደስ ይለኛል ግን እንደ ኮንሰርን ማንሳቴ ነው ለማለት ነው thank you.
My other fear የነበረው some departments are more ahead than yours, radiology, oncology. Yesterday we had a discussion with the chief residents, and hopefully we'll communicate with them directly as well to tell them about the dates. I don't know if there's anyone from internal medicine. I don't know how far they are. The communication seems to be have a little bit of gap there. I don't know if they're starting from, you know, disadvantaged position. So maybe departments, for example, radiology, if they have an exam coming, if you set 2 weeks time, I don't know if we can, you know, department basis way. Can we make it like, you know, if the radiology department decided that you have to send it in 2 weeks, we can follow that. IM residents may have a big disadvantage because I don't know. If there's anyone from internal medicine department, if any chief residents are here, you can tell us how far you've gone so far, and you know, consider not agreeing. Abel, will you be able to tell us something? Our communication on the last 2 days was that this research project was quite new to all of you, and which was a bit surprising. Can you tell us a little bit more, Abel, if you can? Then you can bring him to the panelist if you can.
Okay, I'm trying.
Abel then now, right? I think he's one of the chief residents.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
ይሰማል።
Okay. Thank you. So, like I said in the chat box, we haven't yet finalized our proposals. So there are some residents who haven't even selected a research topic yet. So we would really appreciate it if the due date is pushed for at least a couple of weeks.
Dr. Fitsum, I think we need
Yes.
to talk to Dr. Abdulrazak because he's been involved from the beginning and was on board.
Okay.
Gap ያለው ምን ላይ ነው የሚለውን understand ማድረግ ያለብን ይመስለኛል. If we push the deadline for one department, then we have to push it for everyone, in my opinion. ምክንያቱም selection process-ን affect የሚያደርጋችሁ ይመስለኛል. You're not going to have
Absolutely.
a selection process for the rest of them. So if you push it and radiology or oncology submit and they're still going to wait, then there's no point.
Yeah.
So on the same page, I think it might be better to have a quick discussion with the 3 department heads. Prof. Daniel is here, so he can represent. Chief Resident Dr. Yetena Weg, they can have a quick discussion and let us know what the feedback is from radiology. Dr. Edominum Yayuhat Mislenyal and Dr. Abdulrazak Nanagran. By Tuesday midday, let you know where we stand.
Okay.
And then we can discuss if we need to push it or not. So, and then any department like, and then so ahead, and then so hey, it's a common thing. So I think we need to understand who's behind. If we're talking about 2 people out of 30, then I think self-explanatory. Majority way behind the Kohona Gandamo, then clearly there's a problem, a gap. So I think let's discuss and get back to you.
Perfect. Okay, I think so. We stick with the May 14th now unless anything changes. We'll stay. Henny?
I am very open to all those and consultative መንገድ from the departments bimada, as Dr. Amal has said. I think that would be perfect.
If you didn't have any questions, I think then wrap up Maragich.
Apology, I have to step out. We're wrapping up anyway, so if there's anything I'm going to miss, do let me know.
Thank you again, Dr. Amal. You've been very helpful. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Amal.
And thank you, Dr. Daniel and Dr. Edo, the department heads for oncology and radiology. Staying up on late afternoon, early evening.
Thank you, but I'm not the department head. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just a parting and just as a closing, Dr. Daniel የሚያነሳው ነገር ነበረ regarding language, right? በስላነሳውም ደስ ብሎኛል. I think it's good to clarify, we're not going to look for completely error prone free የሆነ አይደለም የምንፈልገው ወይንም ደግሞ በጣም exalted የሆነ languageም አይደለም የምንፈልገው. So we can look past those things. We want an honest, authentic የሆነ የተማሪዎቹን ስራ ነው የምንፈልገውና as much as possible proofread እንዲደረግ እንፈልጋለን by the students themselves. As much as possible we want it to be clear. ግን rubricun ሁሉም residents, I'm glad rubric already እናንተ ጋር ደርሷል. That's really, really good. ለሴንት ፖልም እሱን ለማስተላለፍ እንሞክራለን very soon over the next few days. So ከሰብሚት ከማድረጋቸው በፊት that's the very criteria we work with. እና እዛ ላይ write up part 2 የሆነ 10% ነው ምናምን ነው የሰጠነው. That's how much they're going to be affected if it has a lot of grammatical mistakes ምናምን. ከዛ ውጭ አይሄድም. ግን with all those things, as long as everything is in the right place, የሜቶዶሎጂው rigor ጥሩ ከሆነ the right methodology in view of the research question the way they've unpacked the methodology, if it's in line with recommended theory and practice and so forth. There's so many other points to win. And even and session by the way, academic writing like run so that's part of the mentorship process. Share everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Henock. But I'm thank you very much for the clarification, and thank you for letting me participate in this meeting. I learned a lot from it. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Good day.
Thank you. Welcome. Sandy, you can close it for us.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.